Don't you just love living in the ruins of a shattered empire? Our nation just a piece of glass that refuses to do anything but hurt itself. Well, this is all but our reality in the county of Longsword. Count Dusktalon here has done more than necessary to achieve his dreams of purity and unity, and continues to collect the toll of countless lives. But we have some options. Well, only really two options. Die or resist. And today, we die. I mean resist. A civil war is on the horizon, and this may be our one chance, our only chance to save the Empire, to save the world. And it all starts right here. To the north of our county, the Ordenstadt of Hellquill lies in the cold forest. They're not, a government that would be friendly to any sort of resistance here, of course, but nonetheless, we still have friends in Hellquill, because us and Hellquill are one and the same. We're both frontier, knightly states, stuck in the past, with two competing populations, and those who fight in the good struggle there would like to aid us here. So we'll get what assistance we can, and maybe one day we'll be able to return the favor and liberate them. Also, these Griffin 3D models are very adorable, yeah. And the city of Kupishkis has in it a population very partial to our cause. Unfortunately, both these countries are led by Griffins and all the cities are controlled by Griffins, so even though the city of Kupishkis itself is rather disloyal to these governments, they still are strongly guarded. Fortunately though, most Griffin officials were corrupt to the core. Though it might be risky, you could try bribing your way through the gate. Yeah, we'll attempt to bribe them. We'll also do the very important job of winning the psychological war too, spreading literature, making sure that people don't become hopeless. Well, I guess not people, but you know, Comrade Star Knight proclaimed to the ponies and griffins gathered in the forest grove, the time has come for us to show that our movement is more than simple revolutionary slogans, to show what happens to those who support the tyrant Count and his cronies. Where some justice is of course due, we should only target the worst offenders, of course. We've already hurt ourselves enough here in Longsword, we can't continue the trend any further, and it's time to undo some of the terrible deeds of the Count ourselves, even while he still leads the country. There are some labor camps in Vrena, so we're going to go do what we can before it's too late. The Battle of Vrena. As the bullet connected with the target, the now dead Griffin collapsed to the ground, his blood joining with the sacred earth. Abba smiled to himself. He couldn't stop from experiencing satisfaction while killing the Count's servants. Oh. Okay there, buddy? Yeah. And at last, we find ourselves in the eye of the storm. Our country now obviously divided. There are three factions. The Count, trying to maintain control, Wave Wing, trying to usurp his control with a new order, and us, the Liberators. Two divisions here will stand guard on the front with the Count. Then we'll have three divisions rout Rosewing's forces. The swift victory that we needed to set this country off on a better path. Yeah, Starry and all the other comrades victorious. I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. For all their boasting of Griffin superiority, the Reformistan are terrible fighters. That's true. Suspicions, strange rumors have caught the attention of Starry Night and the Longswordian Vanguard. These claims concern the so-called New Griffonia Party. According to some sources, which are not fully trusted by the Vanguard, Golden Morning is gathering his quite numerous supporters among the armed forces for nothing less than an outright takeover of the Longswordian government. Yeah, that's nonsense. Of course that couldn't happen, right? Yeah, I don't think we should worry too much. Maybe his rule would be better than the current rule anyways. Oh, and I guess he couped the government. Oh, yeah. Definitely not a bad thing by any measure. This had to be done to some extent. We have to fix things somehow, and they obviously weren't gonna fix it. Whoever was ruling, like, I don't know. And this Golden Morning is an interesting fellow. Morning gained the trust of his fellow partisans as a loyal and competent commander. His heart never found reprieve, however. What do creatures find in war? What pushes them to murder each other senselessly, eradicate their fellow creatures just because of their species, and achieve nothing but loss to all? His broken mind began to speak back to him, and it informed him that time is growing sparse. Griffonia, divided between two worlds, east and west, has always been at its own throats. These two worlds have always fought, but if this wheel of time continues any further, the end of the world as we know it will come. Only Longsword has the potential to put an end to this agony. Here, in the forests of the frontier, ponies and griffins manage to coexist and create a super culture, one which borrows superior traits from the griffins and the river ponies alike. This super culture has a destiny to expand and to encompass all of Griffonia. Okay, he's pretty chill, I guess. He never shied from the fact that he would destroy as many as he needs in order to achieve his ideal. And he had to kill her too, Ludwig added bluntly. Her? Oh no, wait. Yeah, it appears he had to kill his friend who started the revolution. Guess sometimes that's what a coup takes. Along the paths of destiny, you've murdered your hero. The voices in his head can get contradictory sometimes. They may mutter that the end will justify the means and he needs to look past the suffering he causes because the utopia he shall construct will make it all worth it. But as soon as he raises his weapon against someone personal, they start to shut him down. Only one golden morning pulled out a cigarette from what was once Starry Night's pack did he realize that the gushed out voice was not inside his head. I did. And I don't want to make it seem I am happy about it. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be here, after all. Okay, and Golden Morning does have some crisis of conscience here. And this continent here is also torn with war now, so that's very, very exciting. Here at least we have a period of peace, some time to rebuild, recover from the Civil War, become a more powerful, train a ton of new divisions. Because war with the Ordenstadt is inevitable, we have friends there that we need to repay. And we've done it, we've industrialized our society, we've erased illiteracy, and now we can move on to other goals, like destroying Hellquill. The Knightly Order of Hellquill to the north is an aberration to everything which our destiny stands for. And nothing, no country, no being can stand in the way of our destiny. And here we go, our superior army with a large stockpile should make this an easy battle for our brave commander here. We do have to cross a river at the very start of this war, which is kind of annoying, but oh, they're gonna attack us? Okay, that makes things a lot easier. And tyranny of the idea. In the cold, dark depths of the palace of Sophia von Teisnausen, a lonely morning was visited by an apparition, a shapeless cloud at first. It took the form of Starry Night and began to speak. Have you come to atone? Have you finally come to tell me that I was right? Faced with the question against her as the apparition tilted its head. All I've learned so far is that I was wrong. I thought of you as better than Katerinburg's lackeys. But now I see that you were a tyrant worse than him in the making. Morning withdrew his pistol and opened fired. Okay, yeah, he's still, dealing with some things. And the siege of the capital city, Hellquill, is over. We'll annex them into the fold, and more war and destruction to the south of us. I can't wait, though. I can't wait for the day when all war and destruction will finally end, and we have declared Swordson to be the new capital of our empire. The heart. We have one problem, though. Lake City is justifying against us, which is very bad. Yeah. We don't really have any manpower. And we haven't integrated Hellquill quite yet. I assume they're gonna call everyone else in. Maybe they won't though, that would be a miracle. But actually, a lot of them are democratic, or harmonist, which is the equivalent to democratic in this mod, so maybe they won't join. That's a good possibility, I guess, for a lot of these guys. And with a few 100,000 lost in our war against Lake City, we have finally succeeded, and we can finally begin the operation of integrating the East into our combination of cultures. It's time for Utopia to begin. And with our nice head start, we will finally start things officially. I guess I probably should have more divisions over here. I guess I can move my one tank there. Ah, yes, and New Maryland is going to help us. That is good. We need as many volunteers as we can get our hands on. These are desperate times, after all. This is not an easy war, and the odds are definitely not in our favor. They have around 4 times the size of our army, but that's to be expected when fighting a faction this big. And our Chad tanks pushed them across the river, which is quite an achievement. A sign of them weakening, perhaps? And there, the first major encirclement. And there, a second major encirclement by Ortelsburg. Meanwhile, the Griffonian Empire is almost united, while communists have triumphed in the south. Stuff's going on here too, yeah. And a third major encirclement around Manchester. I guess we should probably be using our factories. We did dispersed industry, yet all of my factory slots are pretty much filled up at this point. Nice, and now they probably only have twice as much fielded manpower as we do. Very, very good. We might have a chance. Well, we're definitely going to win it, I'll be honest, at this point. Ah, yes, there we go. The only annoying thing about this war is that you have to take every single province in the River Republic to capitulate them, but we did it, and it is over. And now time to fight our greatest and final enemy, our old overlords. We've changed all of our divisions to 40 widths, and our Chad tanks are now 40 widths, or 39 widths. We'll fix that, actually, yeah. To Griffinheim, they capitulated. Of course, we have to share the spoils with a lot of other people, but we'll take the important stuff. Yes, and now it is done. Golden Morning has united both East and West, and now he will decide the fate of Grover, the Child Emperor. The capture of the city of Griffinheim has also awarded us with the highest profile prisoner of the war with the Empire, the Child Emperor himself, Grover the Sixth. It's a miracle that he's fallen to our hands in one piece. While the child had personally done nothing wrong, his name and lineage are followed by curses in Longswordian vocabulary, and any average soldier would have likely demonetized him on spot. Ever since the fall of Griffinheim, the young Griffin has been held in custody away from the front, provided for and guarded by a handful of fanatically loyal pony soldiers, but the status quo cannot stay forever. Having silenced the calls of his subordinates to execute the child, Golden Morning has received 2 possible ideas. One offers to send Grover to the forests of southern Longsword for permanent exile, perhaps if the former emperor shows promise, accepts pony culture in the heart and integrates into the national body. He can be provided with a river pony wife and touted as an example of unity between ponies and griffins. Another idea sees this approach as too soft towards someone who represents the Grover lineage. the family which has done more than any other to cause strife between ponies and griffins. This proposal calls for a massive show trial, where the former emperor shall be put on the stage and forced to listen to witnesses from the entire empire, each one detailing the crimes of the Grover dynasty. Historians will list all the belligerent wars, exploitations, and suffering caused by his predecessors. Longswordian partisans will detail the horrors which Grover II's knightly orders caused in the Vartai to modern day. Griffonian peasants will explain the injustices of the imperial system and how their life suffered from the feudal structure. So this is pretty much exactly like the trial of King Charles I by a certain Oliver Cromwell, well known as a Lord Protector, you could say. Interesting parallel here. Maybe this Golden Morning guy, maybe he should adopt a new title, Lord Protector. Well, I guess not Lord Protector, but we got the second best thing, the Griffking, our new title. Oh. The Socialist Commonwealth of Eevee is at war with us, and these guys have a war goal against us. Yes. Okay, we'll just make an emergency army real quick. It made it clear that the challengers to your destiny will only grow greater. That finally makes sense now, yeah. And perfect, things seem to be stable. We can just sit back and relax as countless more die, trying to destroy our utopia that we've already given so much to create. We're practically already there, and we've reinforced the line here, so hopefully we'll be able to do a nice sweeping motion through Aquilia, then through the Carthenian Workers' Union, and then through the Socialist Commonwealth of Eevee. The plan worked. And now we own everything on Griffonia, except the Dread League and New Maryland, but everything else is either under our direct control or a puppet state. We can finally sit back, relax, and watch the sunset on a grateful world. And Enshpe, the last of the resistance cells, laid down their arms earlier today, peace achieved by a sea of blood, finally set upon Griffonia. And the Griffking Empire, no matter how many adversities it's had to face from its inception, was the side which came out on top. The integration of ponies, griffins, and other races into a single, peaceful national body, seen as a fantasy a mere few decades prior, has been successfully achieved. A new generation is growing up, one absorbed into the integral revolution from their birth to the end of their lives, following their role in a harmonious society which stretches from sea to sea. The war between the East and West has been put to an end. The wheel of time has been broken. There will never be fear again. There will never be war again. Only a utopia. Forever. It's over. Oh, look at that. He's like a cool, he's a king now. Yeah. And more? The halls of Tyzenhausen Manor had dueled from Golden Morning's mind, but once the pony arrived through the howling wind and rain, the memories began to return to him once more. It's been years since he's been there, and a lot has changed since then. Though his plain clothes did not show it at first glance, he was no longer just the dictator of a military regime, but an emperor of a larger part of Griffonia. a liberator and peace bringer, followed by millions. The voices in his head have ceased. He did not know if the gods considered his mission complete or whether they were simply biding their time. But for now, he was free, weak but free. To morning's surprise, Starry Night's ghost chose to appear. Clouds of dust and smoke swirled around him, leaving a chill in the air, before manifesting as the same young, plain mare he killed so many years ago. Whether she really was the spirit of Starry or a magical apparition posing as her, Morning did not know and did not care. Are you happy now? No. The apparition tilted its head. How so? When a single drive overtakes someone's mind, you'd imagine that fulfilling it would leave them satisfied. Or do you still think you have work to do? Why do you care? Morning suddenly gushed out. You never believed in me. You always thought that I'd either die or become a tyrant like the rest. So what? Now that I did not do either, you're just going to forget all that and act so soft towards me. I won't. I still believe that what you did was unjustifiable. The apparition replied calmly and struck a smile. But I can still hope for a former friend to be happy, right? But you believed in an idea too, right? To liberate Longsword, to achieve peace and prosperity. Everyone pursues some ideal, some goal, some utopia. So why do you speak to me like I'm a villain for following mine? But what I've achieved isn't villainous. It's peace across the continent, prosperity for everyone, a feeling of harmony. Will the millions who died in its wake get to enjoy this utopia? They won't, but they sacrificed themselves for something greater. The choice was between a few million dead and eternal peace achieved, or many more millions dead in an eternal war. And that's the crux of my point, isn't it? The apparition suddenly interjected. That's the difference, which makes an unrestrained ideal so dangerous. Nobody wants to do something as horrid as to take a creature's life, neither you nor me. And an ordinary creature who just wants to defend its home or to live a normal life will always have this mortality tugging against them. But a person like you, whose mind is dominated by some sort of greater ideal, will not have this restraint. They might still feel uncomfortable with the act sometimes, but they have done the math. And if the math shows that killing one creature will bring them closer to utopia, they will choose to do so without hesitation. And when you murder one, what stops you from killing another? 100, 1,000, 1,000,000? After all, your visions of the future will surely eclipse the loss of so many lives. And you? I believed in something. I knew what I wanted Longsword to be like, and I knew that it would be better for everyone, but I made sure to never forget that after all is said and done, I am just a mare who wants to protect her home and the people she loves, and that, when it comes to choose between staying as myself and following destiny, I'd always choose the former. Morning muttered, his voice stuttering, the passion in his broken body having long since faded, and turned to the side, trying to avert his eyes from Starry's gaze. Sorry. Don't be. I was the one who failed to prevent this, not you. I loved you. I know. The apparition dissipated into mist, never to be seen again. Trying to hold back a tear, Golden Morning finally turned around with a pained grunt and stepped outside. The clouds began to clear, letting the sun shine over a corpse-strewn utopia. Forever. I mean, haha, funny pony mod. Ha, look at ponies. Ah, what a funny mod. But yes, anyway, this is an excellent path, probably one of the best, if not the best in the mod. And I don't know what all that is about this mod being, you know, silly and cartoonish. Well, you know, I know where that comes from, obviously. But if anything, though, people should be complaining about how dark and grim this mod is. It had the flavor and style of a TNO path before TNO even existed. And if you think paths like this are the exception. This may be one of the best ones, but almost every path has about this level of quality. But yeah, see you guys next time.